The world begins in shades of grey. Before the sun arrives, the mountains are just giant shapes against a dark sky. They are old, very old. You can feel their age in the cold air. The wind whispers down from the high peaks. It carries the sharp scent of stone and dry earth. Nothing moves much up here. It is a place of stillness. The silence is deep, broken only by the faint rustle of the wind. This is a time for waiting, a time for watching the day begin its slow journey. It is a raw and powerful landscape. Slowly the first light appears. It is not a sudden flash. A soft glow on the eastern horizon. The light climbs the dark rock faces. It touches the highest points first, turning them a pale orange. Jagged edges and deep cracks in the stone become visible. These mountains have seen countless sunrises. They stand like silent guardians over the valley below. Every morning, the light paints them a different way. It reveals their texture. It reveals their strength. It is a daily spectacle, simple and profound. It reminds you how small you are in this vast, ancient world. Down below, the valley is still wrapped in shadow. It is a long, deep cut between the mountains. From this high vantage point, it looks like a sleeping creature. You can just make out the darker patch of green at its heart. That is the oasis, the center of all life here. The light has not reached it yet. It remains cool and quiet. The air is heavy with the promise of the day to come. You know that down there people will soon be stirring. The quiet will soon give way to the sounds of life. The sun finally breaks free. It spills golden light down the slopes. The grey stone turns to warm brown and red. The shadows shrink back, revealing the true shape of the land. You can see the winding path that snakes its way down from the high passes. It is a thin, dusty ribbon carved into the mountainside. This path is a lifeline. It connects the world outside to the hidden world within the valley. It is a trail worn smooth by generations of feet, human, animal. The day has truly begun. As the sun warms the valley floor, the oasis begins to stir. This patch of green is a miracle in the dry landscape. It is fed by a spring, a source of clear, cool water. The water pools in a small, shimmering lake, then flows out to nourish the surrounding land. Tall reeds grow thick around the water's edge. Green stalks sway gently in the morning breeze. Small birds hidden in the leaves start to sing. Their calls break the morning quiet. This is the heart of the valley. Life here is tied directly to the water. People emerge from simple dwellings heading for the spring. Clay jars, leather bags. They move with a familiar rhythm, a routine passed down through time. Water splashes into containers, a comforting sound. People kneel at the water's edge to wash their faces. The cold water is a sharp, welcome shock. This ritual is a moment of connection, a reminder that all life depends on this single precious source. Small plots around the oasis are carefully tended. Rows of green shoots push up from dark, damp earth. Gardens growing food to feed the community. Wet soil and growing plants fill the air with scent. Faint, smoky traces from last night's cooking fires. A goat tethered nearby. A donkey tethered nearby. The goat bleats. The donkey brays, eager for morning feed. These animals are partners in survival, essential to daily rhythm. The sounds of community grow. Soft murmur of voices, greetings between neighbors. A child laughs. A dog barks. A pot clatters as a morning meal is prepared. Not a loud or hurried awakening. A slow, steady process, like the rising sun. The oasis comes to life, piece by piece. People waking, animals waking, land waking. The day's work and interactions begin in this small, vibrant world. The journey begins on the roof of the world. Up here, the air is thin and cold. The path is a narrow ledge cut into the mountain's side. It is just wide enough for a single horse. A small group of travelers moves in a line. They are wrapped in thick woolen cloaks to keep out the biting wind. Close detail of thick cloaks. Their faces are weathered by sun and dust. They do not speak. The only sounds are the crunch of hooves on loose stone. close of hooves crunching, and the heavy breathing of the animals. This is a place that demands respect. One wrong step could send you plunging into the abyss below. The horses are the true masters of this terrain. Sturdy, sure-footed animals, close on thick coats, close on steady eyes. They know this path. They place each hoof with careful precision, testing the ground, before committing their weight. The lead horse, a strong grey stallion, picks the way. The others follow in its footsteps without hesitation. The riders trust their animals completely. They sit relaxed in their saddles, moving with the rhythm of the horse's gait. Partnership built over a lifetime. Small gestures between rider and horse. A bond of survival between man and beast. Travelers carry everything they need on their backs. Pack animals laden on their backs. Tightly bound bundles are strapped to wooden pack saddles. Rolled up tents, clay pots, woven bags. These are not people traveling for pleasure. They are moving with purpose. Salt from the high deserts, fine wool from their mountain flocks. A vital link in a chain of trade connecting remote communities. Weathered hands adjusting packs. Hard life, necessary work. Looking back, the trail stretches for miles, disappearing around a ridge. Looking forward, the path seems to drop off into empty air. The scale of the landscape is immense. Sharp peaks, deep valleys. The small caravan is a tiny, moving speck in this vast wilderness. For these travelers, this is just another day. The mountain is not an obstacle to be conquered. It is simply the way. It is a part of their world, a challenge to be met with patience and endurance. The sun climbs higher in the sky. The warmth begins to reach the high pass. The travelers start their descent into the valley. The path becomes steeper now. It zigzags down the mountain face. Sharp turns carve the slope. The horses lean back, digging their hooves in. Small stones tumble down. Dust skitters after them. The riders shift their weight to steady the animals. It is a slow, careful process. There is no room for haste here. The path finally begins to level out. The steep descent is over. The trail is wider now, less treacherous, winding through the foothills at the base of the great mountains. The horses sense the change. Their pace quickens slightly. Riders relax. Tension in their shoulders eases. Details of the valley floor come into view. The green oasis is vibrant and living. A thin plume of smoke rises from one of the homes. The travelers pass the first signs of permanent settlement. A low stone wall marks the boundary of a goat pen. The led rider urges his horse into a slow trot. The rest of the caravan follows suit. The travelers guide their horses the final few hundred paces toward the pool of water. Reaching the edge of the pool, the men dismount. Before they tend to their own needs, they see to their animals. The riders splash water over the animals' hot, dusty necks and backs. With the horses cared for, the men turn to their own thirst. After their thirst is quenched, the men lead their horses away from the main pool. The travelers stretch their own stiff limbs, the long hours in the saddle having taken their toll. The market does not have a formal gate or a set opening time. It simply comes to life as the morning sun clears the eastern mountain ridge. The travelers from the high passes are already there, their goods laid out on woven blankets. The air now begins to buzz with a new energy. The scene is a tapestry of color and movement. The deep red of dried chilies, the earthy brown of sacked lentils, hammered copper bowls that gleam in the morning sun. Next to him, a woman displays bolts of woven cloth, their patterns telling stories of her family and village. A farmer, his hands stained with soil, approaches the salt trader. The trader names a price, not in coins, but in goods. 2 sacks of your best barley, he suggests. He shakes his head slowly. Part of the dance. He counters 1 sack of barley and a small basket of onions. The negotiation has begun. Barter is most common here. A potter might trade a large water jar for a length of woolen cloth for a cloak. As the farmer and salt trader finalize, the trader shares news from the high passes. The farmer replies, "The date palm's health this season." A man buying a horse spends long with the animal. He runs his hands down its legs, checks its teeth, looks deep into its eyes. Negotiation follows, long and serious. When the deal is struck, a firm handclasp seals a bond of honor. Food is everywhere in the market. One corner of the dusty clearing is dedicated to the freshest produce from the oasis gardens. A man stands over a flat, hot stone set over a bed of glowing coals, cooking thin rounds of bread. He hands it over in exchange for a few dried dates. The spice merchant's blanket is a map of distant lands. The locals buy them in tiny quantities, carefully wrapping a pinch of the precious powder in a small piece of cloth. At the edge of the market, a man sells cheese and yogurt from the goats and sheep that graze on the high slopes. The cheese is hard and salty. While trade is the market's main purpose, it is the small, human moments that give the place its true character. Children dart through the legs of the adults. Friendships are renewed and maintained. Two women who live on opposite sides of the valley meet near the weaver's stall. They embrace warmly. An old man with a long white beard sits on a stool. He spins tales of a clever fox. He tells of a foolish king. The day's heat begins to fade as the sun sinks towards the high western ridge. Long shadows stretch across the valley floor. The buzz of the market has died down, replaced by the sounds of departure. People begin to pack their unsold goods. The people of the valley begin their slow journey home. They move in small groups. Children who were once full of energy now walk quietly beside their parents. As darkness fully envelops the valley, the travelers have built their own fire in their camp. The fire is the center of their world now. The evening meal is simple but hearty. A pot of lentils bubbles over the coals. They eat from the communal pot. There is little talk as they eat. After the meal, the mood shifts. The leader recounts his trades. Another man shares news from the market. A warning about a rock slide on a northern pass. A younger man withdraws a simple wooden flute he carved himself. Just a few simple, haunting notes drifting into the night. The others listen in silence. The time after the meal and before sleep is for small, essential tasks. With slow, deliberate movements, he begins to stitch it closed. The horses tethered nearby are quiet. They stand with one leg cocked, dozing in the cool night air. Finally, the tasks are done. They wrap themselves tightly in their cloaks, using their saddlebags as pillows. The valley is now completely still, resting under a blanket of stars. The cycle of the day is complete, and all life waits for the first light of dawn. The first hint of dawn finds the valley in deep silence. The market clearing is once again just a patch of dusty ground. But beneath this surface, small shifts have occurred. A family has enough salt for the coming months. A woman has a new bolt of cloth for a winter cloak. The mountains that frame this scene are indifferent to the small dramas of human life. They are the silent witnesses to countless generations. The farmer who bargained for salt was repeating the actions of his father and his father's father. This continuity is the valley's greatest strength. Life continues, a quiet and persistent river flowing through the heart of the ancient mountains, a testament to the enduring power of place.